the expenditure of, so obviously this is again, these are more inclined towards, critical reasoning, right? So, but it's the same concept of a jumbled sentence, right? We just need to look for these clue words and keywords, right? So again, remember we saw one of this, so there's a topic sentence, there's a closing sentence given. We need to figure out what's the sentence that will come in between, right? So couple of things for a question type like this is just to logically reason out and look for keywords from both these contexts to help us arrive at what can be the possible middle sentence to complete the paragraph logically, right? So let's read. The expenditure of time, money, and sparse judicial and prosecutorial resources is often justified by claims of a powerful deterrent message embodied in the ultimate punishment, which is the death penalty. And then there's a blank, right? We have to choose one of these. There are 5 sentences given. In 2010, the average time between sentencing and execution in the United States averaged nearly 15 years. A much more effective deterrent would be a sentence of life imprisonment imposed close in time to the crime. So what's the paragraph revolving around, right? They're talking about death penalty, right? The paragraph is revolving around death penalty. They're saying, whether it is actually a powerful deterrent or not, right? Whether it is really, is that justifiable actually, this death penalty. And basically, he's saying given the current situation, so the author, from the paragraph, what I can get is the author is saying it actually isn't. And he's giving a solution towards the end. If you see the last sentence, it says a much more effective deterrent would be a sentence of life imprisonment imposed close in time to the crime. So if, usually I can relate this to these, the rape cases, that was going on some time back, where, the punishment took forever, right? It was not immediate. Yes, there are certain cases that have changed in the recent past, but what we're saying is, what he's saying is, when will it be more effective is when the punishment happens immediately after the crime and not give a long gap. See, there's an example given. In the earlier sentence says, in 2010, the average time between sentencing and execution in the United States averaged nearly 15 years. So imagine, I do a crime today. Imagine I rape a girl today, 1st September 2016, and 15 years later, I get the sentence for it. Doesn't make sense, right? It dilutes the purpose of why it is there. So the effectiveness dies out. That's what the author is trying to say. Right? So, looking at the context, Ashish, watch the events calendar. It's just given there. There will be a link, special session. You just need to go click on the time and you can attend the session. Yeah? So, couple of things. So, the first one is talking about, okay, these are the factors, right? There is a sentence in between, and then the other factor is just, this is additional information, right? Some statistic information, say in 2010, this is what happened. And what is that statistic information talking about? Time. The time, average time between whatever. So now let's look at our options and see what is the logical connect that can fit in between. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds. Read all the options A, B, C, D, E and look for clue words and keywords that you can connect. Yeah, so effective deterrent here. Is this death penalty really that effective? That's what the author is trying to say. Let's look at our options. A single federal death penalty case in Philadelphia was found to cost upwards of $10 million, 8 times higher than the cost of trying a death-eligible case where prosecutors seek only life imprisonment. Okay, so this is referring to money. This is an information given in terms of cost, right? So let's keep that aside. B, the ethics of the issue aside, it is questionable whether seeking the death penalty is ever worth the time and resources that it takes to sentence someone to death. So this again is just kind of reiterating or addressing time and resources. Okay. C, apart from delaying justice, the death penalty diverts resources that could be used to help the victims' families heal. Now again, if you look at C, I wouldn't say it's unrelated, but given the paragraph, if I look at the succeeding sentence, it is only giving me an expansion with respect to time, right? So this is a completely different factor altogether. So I can safely eliminate C to begin with. Let's look at D. But studies repeatedly suggest that there is no meaningful deterrent effect associated with the death penalty, and further, any deterrent impact is no doubt greatly diluted by the amount of time that inevitably passes between the time of the conduct and the punishment. Now, if you ask me, D is very, very close to what we're trying to achieve here in terms of this sentence being a best fit. Why? Because the topic sentence is talking about whether death penalty is a powerful deterrent message. That is addressed in the first part of the sentence. Studies suggest there is no meaningful deterrent effect associated with the death penalty. Right? It's addressing that part. And it's also addressing the succeeding sentence where it's giving me an example about time. So proceeding. So something has to proceed, right? Why is this example given here suddenly out of the blue? Right? So any deterrent impact is no doubt greatly diluted by so this entire thing, this impact is greatly diluted by the amount of time that inevitably passes between the time of the conduct and the punishment. So this example supports this sentence, right? So the example is saying, yes, the average time between sentencing and execution in the United States is average nearly 15 years. This is what happens. So this is an example expanding on this second half of the part D, right? And let's look at E. While some victims and their families supported and some opposed the decision, any expectation that Sarna will be put to death might be implicated. So this again is talking about some person. There is no related context. I can safely eliminate E. Let's go to B. Some of you said, hey, why not B? Right? Now the reason, one of you asked, but is there? Yes. But is there because, look at the topic sentence, it says, the expenditure of time, money and sparse judicial and prosecutorial resources is often justified by claims of a powerful deterrent message embodied in the ultimate punishment, the death penalty. So, they are justifying something, saying, yes, it is okay. But, what are the studies saying? There is no meaningful deterrent effect associated with the death penalty. So that's why the but is there, right? It makes more sense. Right? So, keeping in mind the context, you know for a fact that D has to be the sentence in between here. Right? Because the next sentence is expanding or giving an example of how the amount of time dilutes. If the amount of time is more, it will definitely dilute the whole process of the death penalty. Right? Yeah, we just have to find out the sentence. Correct. See, these are the options. From the given options, you just need to find the sentence that is the best fit in the blank. Right? So like I said, about context. When it comes to context, yeah, why not A? I don't know who asked that. Sudeep. A, because it's only addressing cost. And if you look at the entire context, right? It's only making reference to time. I have an example with time, and even the closing sentence where the author is again reiterating saying, the most effective deterrent would be a sentence of life imposed close in time to the crime. So the context is more making reference to only time, right? Guys, this is not a jumble sentence. We don't have to unravel and jumble the entire context. The question is pretty simple. There is a blank given, right? From the given options, you just need to choose which blank is the best fit there. That's it. Yes, they may have said, it's a topic sentence, right? It's giving you various options. Time, money, sparse judicial prosecution resources. Yes, but the rest of the context is only making reference to time. Look at the two sentences that are there. And the only sentence that is in link with the remaining two sentences is D.